So it has been a minute since you've seen me reviewing any Ford products, but we back, baby. And I could not be more excited about the fact that my first Ford bag is the Tourneo, because you know I've just done a trip to Plettenberg Bay in the Mercedes-Benz Vito Select Tourer. I'm getting the VW Transporter, the new one, in December, and now I've got this. I mean, I'm all about the van life. Hashtag van life, man. Oh my goodness, I'm really enjoying it. It's a problem. Psh, SUV police. Jokes. But I also was actually interested to see, because I want to know if you've had like a Ford Tourneo film, like a 2016 model. I checked that. And I popped it into hippo.co.za with my details to see what, like, because now you would have maybe run out of service plan and all of that jazz. So I wanted to see what quotes I'd get for that. So great. Thank you, Hippo, for those. And then also I wanted to see like scratch and dent, because again, I did that with the Mercedes-Benz, because you have kids in these cars and dogs and bikes and. So I just thought, let's check that out. So just so you know, on hippo.co.za, there are insurance quotes for all sorts of things relating to cars. So check it out. So the Tourneo launched last year, but then they've added two new derivatives, which is this, which is the Sport, and the Titanium X, which is like the really fancier pants one, like the more premium of the lot. Now this Sport, you'll see it, okay? Because it's got these Mursa stripes that go up the whole length of the car. It's got stripes down the side. It's got these 17-inch alloys. Then it's got a front splitter and a trapezoidal, I think that's how you say it, mesh grille. And then it's got, because is anything sporty if it doesn't have a wing? I'm not so sure about that. I mean, to be fair, it's not a very intrusive wing, okay, but it's still a wing. I don't know what my vibe is with that. But anyway, I am fine with the rest of it. In fact, no, I would probably not want all the stripes and the whole sporty look. But you know, like each to their own and all that jazz, you know? Sorry, my bra's gone somewhere. But now you come inside, okay, and the stripes continue on these seats. But I actually think this looks really cool. What I love, which is probably my favorite form of interior, is having a little bit of leather on the side, so it looks quite nice, and then mixed with cloth. And then the cloth is where your bum is. Because you've heard me say it before, people, I don't love to burn my butt in summer or freeze in winter. Although this does have heated seats, so okay. But still, you've still got to get in first before it gets warm. It is spec'd out really well, and then it's got this really cool, very intuitive, very responsive infotainment system. I think one of my favorite things about it, it's also got Ford Sync 4. Okay, guys, I think the last time I reviewed a Ford, we were on Ford Sync 2. Or maybe 3, I don't know. That is funny. I do enjoy my own jokes. What I love is that so easy to sync and to pair your phone and all that jazz. But what's even better is the fact that when you're into like Apple CarPlay or if you Android Auto, is that you still have a thing here to click back to home, and so you can get onto all the other menus. I can't believe how many cars don't have that. It's bizarre for me, because I mean, so many of the others, I don't know how you get out of Android Auto to go back to like a setting or to do something. Like, for instance, the stop start or whatever, unfortunately, is in a screen. You've got to go like through a screen, which is always the issue I have with touchscreens. Where this, thankfully, is better for me is that the climate control is at the bottom here. Like, you've got the buttons at the bottom, still on the screen, and, you know, still have to go into, but you can change your temperature and then get to the fan like with one sort of, you know, and there's a volume knob. Hell yeah, that's the best part. So yeah, all in all, I think like it's quite an intuitive system, and of course you've got like voice control and all that jazz if you want to, which we've seen that I'm pretty useless at that. So here we are. This also has like adaptive cruise control, and it's sort of got all the features that I would be happy with. I don't think I need much more. Like even the doors are electric. Oh no, I do want an electric tailgate. Okay, when that boot, when it's a boot of that size, then I want it to be electric. To pull that back down, I'm like, because it's mursha, do you know? But that boot is massive. It's really massive. And because the seats are on a track and you can bring them forward and all of that jazz, you can create a bigger boot if you want. It also, so here's the thing with the Vito, like to try and change the configuration of those seats was hellish. This, I haven't tried it myself because my back, guys, my back. But I don't see why anyone would ever want to turn this sort of car, like the sport one, into like a lounge affair. Do you know what I mean? But you can do it if you want to. It gives you the option, okay? You can swivel them and move them forward and backwards, etc. They're very easy to flip forward. They're very light. Everything's quite light and easy. I found the Vito, the seats are so heavy that to even maneuver them is actually a bit of a pain. We're going away in this car for the weekend because, like, you know, I love me a little weekend getaway. So I will put some pictures up maybe of us, like what we did, and, you know, we're going to Ribic Castile. Oh, one of the other things you can get is a mobile office package. This doesn't have anything, but it gives you like extra little lighting, cabin lighting, and then places for your laptop and everything. And it's so all these things that I think are like useless and I wouldn't want them. But the best thing about it is that you get a trash can, like a bin. That, for any road trip, I don't know, any parent will know the amount of shit that kids create and the rubbish. And especially when they're babies. My God, the amount of wet wipes. I have polluted this planet like you've no idea with wet wipes, but they are marvelous. I love a wet wipe. But don't come at me, climate people, okay? Just don't. I'm environmentally friendly in every other way, just not wet wipes. But, you know, you always have to have a packet, because if you don't have a packet, then everything's gross. Anyways, I love that there's a bin. So it's powered by a 2-litre single turbo diesel. You get 125 kilowatts of power and 390 Newton meters of torque, and mated to an 8-speed auto. Now, it's not as powerful, obviously, as the Merc is, okay? It's a bit more premium brand there as well. But it is certainly responsive and a lovely drive. I think you just have to be a little bit more cognizant, thank you so much, of when you're going to overtake and if it's fully loaded, etc. But not to the degree that you might think. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's certainly not a game changer, or a deal breaker. Not a deal breaker, that's the word I wanted to use. But because of the independent rear suspension, it is a lovely, comfortable drive and very easy to maneuver. I do have this feeling, having just come out of the Merc, like, I love the Vito, right? I love it. I love the V-Class. I love a van, but I feel like I'm in a van. This actually makes me feel like I'm driving an SUV more than I'm driving a van. It doesn't have the creaks and the heaviness and sort of like where you know that you've got a very long wheelbase going back here. You know, like, yeah, it just actually feels very SUV-esque. Hey, that's a new word. I should copyright that. Okay, so fuel is claimed at 7.4 litres per 100 Ks. I think if you are on the highway and everything, you're going to get like sort of just over 8, like 8.3, 8.4. But I'm been sitting around 9.5 around town. Okay, these electric scootery things, not a scooter, like a thing you stand on, that is not a thing. You don't go on the road. Now I've got to deal with cyclists and those. You have got to be kidding me. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Also, you should have a helmet on if you're going to be on that thing. Right, so pricing. This sport comes in at like 1.2 million, okay, just about. The Vito, of course, is like closer to 1.4 million. I think what it is with the MPV world right now and the VanLife world, we actually really spoiled for choice. And they all offer something unique to them, but overall really great. So it's going to come down to budget. Like the Transporter, like, so the sort of the full motion one is like 1.3 million, say. But you can get I think it's a Transporter Combi, which is one less, which would probably be on par with this a little bit, but this has got more spec. But that comes in at like 1.16 something. I mean, you can even also look at the Hyundai Staria, obviously, which is now, I guess, maybe feeling a little bit older than these, because these have all come in with their new models. So especially, I mean, like in 1 year, we've sort of had Merc, Tourneo, and Transporter all. Do they all get together and go like, let's all launch our MPVs together? Now, bearing in mind though, the Transporter is based on this, the Ford. So a lot of people might go, I'm going to get the one that's cheaper between these, because either way, I'm driving basically a Ford Tourneo, whether I've got a VW badge on it or not. But if you want to go fancy, you can look at the Titanium X. Then you sort of going into Merc Vito, sort of Tourer vibe, still cheaper, obviously. But I haven't driven that one, so I can't really give you much on that. But for this, like, I'm really thrilled with it. I'm also very relieved that it's a Ford that I can be positive about, so I don't get myself in trouble again. That's maybe where I should end the video.